Hey guys, Ash here for the Gullers and Blues. Happy Sunday. This is, of course, this week's instalment of the Sunday Supplement. A quick look back at things from yesterday and other things in general. First off, a good result, not the most amazing, I suppose, display from the Blues yesterday. A number of players did stand out. Coleman, Morgan Schneiderlin, I thought had a great game. Although not a great game, Gylfi Sigurdsson did play a little bit better than he has been the last while. Bernard had a game. He's went off with a knock, hopefully not too bad. Theo Walcott obviously with a great deliverance for the Bernard's goal, went off shortly after, and hopefully that's not going to be too bad either. But starting off today, the first topic we're going to talk about is Jordan Pickford. He comes into the limelight, I suppose, for good and the bad in most cases, and he made the headlines for the good and the bad yesterday. Do you know the sequence on Match of the Day, the too good, too bad? He could have easily have made that yesterday. I don't think there's going to be a Match of the Day 2. I think that's what it's normally on. Obviously, because I'm working night time, I don't get to see Match of the Day as often as I would like. But I think it's on the Match of the Day sequence. But anyway, the way I look at it is like to let a player like Christian Benteke, who hadn't scored for almost a year until yesterday. No, not just blaming Jordan Pickford but I'm also blaming Bain Sports because they couldn't keep their mouth shut beforehand about Benteke not scoring a goal. But for him not to score, when the shot came in, it was more like, it was fair enough. There was a bit of pace behind it, but nothing too much, and it just looked like Jordan Pickford lifted up his hands and just let the ball go under him, and it was an absolute cock up of a mistake. And then to almost, after we went ahead again, and to almost make it 2-2, he pulls off a worldly of a save. Only Jordan and Benteke will know what the hell happened there, because at the end of the day, I think Pickford had no right to save that. Fair enough, I know he did hit it at him, but obviously Pickford was moving in the box, moving to the side, so to save it with his hand and his chest, he had no right to save it, but what a hell of a save. And I think this is the things that are driving us as fans. We're getting mad over, because 1 minute he's class, and then the other you call him a bleeding bollocks, and you're screaming at the TV, or you're screaming in the mercantile over him, and you can see why we signed him for the big fee from Sunderland. But then some people are saying, okay, it's time to let him go. But the question is, if we did let him go, would we command that fee if we sold him? And to be honest with you, just because he's England's number one, I don't think we would get anywhere close to that. It's, because everyone is seeing the faults in the guy, to be honest. But then the other side is, who do we go after? And you can look at it two ways. A, is the person going to be good enough? And B, who would the player be that would want to come and join Everton? And let's as we keep going back to when it comes to signings, it's very hard to get these players in when you're not playing in Europe. I, for one, I think he definitely has the quality, but it's the silly mistakes that's letting him down. And if some of the coaches can drill this out of him, then I think he'll definitely be a better keeper. Some people say he's cocky, some people say he's just not good enough, or it's a bit of bad luck. I think it's a combination of all three. But his worldly saves, as they say, they weigh out the mistakes that he makes. So obviously you guys can tell me your feelings on that. Next topic is the winter break. It's because we're not used to it. It's kind of weird. Like, only seeing 2 games on a Saturday. It's just kind of weird. Like, fair enough, if it was an FA Cup weekend, you kind of get that. But to be honest, I don't really like it. But there's 2 ways of looking at it. The first one is if you're on a decent run, like obviously Everton are at the moment, getting victories and getting ourselves up that table. We now go into a 2-week break where realistically you really want to keep the momentum going. You don't want to change it, and obviously we've got a tough 4 games coming up, and if I'm correct in saying this, it's 3 Sundays in a row, and then the derby, I believe, is on a Monday. So it's very, very 4 tough games, and it'll be all under the Sky cameras, I believe. I think the Sunday is a Super Sunday. The Arsenal games are Super Sunday. United, the Chelsea, I'm nearly sure they're Super Sunday games as well. And then obviously the Monday night football for the derby, and because we're now 1 point behind 5th place, you want to keep that momentum going. You don't want to be taking a break or going on holidays. You want to, it's like you want to say, okay, Tuesday you want the Arsenal game to come up, and then on Saturday you want the United game to come up. So you want the games to come thick and fast, especially when you're playing well. And now you're saying, so, okay, you know, because I believe, as I mentioned in a couple of comments yesterday, I believe that these next 4 games are going to pretty much dictate whereabouts in the table we're going to finish. If we can get some, you know, three, you know, maybe out of the 4 games you can get 2 wins and 2 draws, or even if magically something happens and we get 4 wins or 3 wins, it really gets us up there with them. But if the worst case scenario happens where you lose all those 4 games, where are we going to be in the table at that point in time? And that means then we need to be pushing on again and doing another run of games to get ourselves up there. But the flip side of the coin is, of course, if we're in a situation where we were before Carlo came in, we are right near the bottom of the table, and you're losing games on a continuous basis, then you can say to yourself, okay guys, we need this break, we need this 2 week break. You can get the players then to give them a couple of days off, they can go away for a weekend, whatever, and then when they get back they get down to the pitch, they get down to the training ground, and they work their asses off to get their back, you know, get ready to fight for your Premier League lives. So deep down, it's a difficult one, because I think, okay, you're on the run, you want to keep that game going, and then the other side of it is, yes, you're losing, so oh god, give us a break. But deep down, as I said, when you have no toffee games, you know, for a couple of weeks, it's hard to, you know, when the season's over, you have to go through the summer, no football, you know, no toffees, it's pretty hard to go with. Next topic then up is Andre Gomes. As Carlo said in the press conference for the Watford game, he is due to come back for the Arsenal game, and some are saying he's going to be ready. I think I heard it on Toffee TV, he's due to play in the next couple of days a closed door game, get him up match fitness to see how he's getting on. But even if he's not still 100%, I wouldn't start him against Arsenal. Definitely bring him onto the bench, of course, see how the game is acting on, and then bring him in. I think over the years we've been so unlucky with players coming back from injury and they're saying they're 100%, and then they get injured again, and we end up then losing them for a bigger period of time. As I already mentioned, these next 4 games really tough, and if the worst case, as it does happen, and we lose those games, well, then we will need him then to bring in quality into midfield going forward for the rest of the games of the season, to get us back into a race for you know, not just Champions League football, which, you know, we're all kind of getting excited about, but make sure that we at least get the Europa League side of things. Finally then, today we're going to have a quick chat about Seamus Coleman, Mr. 60 grand himself. I have to admit, I've slagged him off over the last season, so, you know, thinking that he's done. But like, should he still be our main right back? You know, I think he had an amazing game yesterday. I think from what he does, one error that he did cost, where he was trying to, you know, walk the ball out of play, and he got caught in possession, and it gave Crystal Palace a chance. Thankfully the shot was blocked, but I think he had Dive Zaha in his pocket for most of the game yesterday. He handled him pretty well. The change for Walcott going off and bringing on Sidibe, I don't think that works too well. I think when they first started playing together, he had a couple of instances where he got a couple of assists, but I think they're trying to outdo each other most of the time, so maybe it doesn't always work. But we know, what's the story with Sidibe? If we're going to buy him on a permanent, I would have thought something would have happened with that in the January window, and nothing obviously came with that. So, is Seamus going to be still our main right back? You have John Joe Kenny, who's having a good season at Schalke. He's still to come back, and is he going to be the answer? I think in his first or second goal, he scored a hell of a belter of like 35 yards out. So he seems to be having a role over there. We don't know what the story is with Schalke, whether Schalke want to take him on a permanent, and whether he'd be interested in moving to Germany on a permanent basis. So the kid's still only young. So are we thinking of, okay, well, let's mould John Joe into the next right back, and Seamus is going to be our main one? It's a very difficult one. I've said it before that I thought that he looked finished, but I think a lot of it is mental. I've said this a million times before in the past, that once a player gets a leg break, I think a lot of it can be mental. Not just the fact that you lose mobility, you lose your pace, you're never going to be the same again. You lose motion. I think a lot of it is in the mind of, afraid of getting hurt again. So I think he definitely has something, to give for the club. And, I don't want to see him leave, not to be perfectly honest. You know, he's our captain, and he is a very good captain. He's a very straightforward captain. He's, you know, he gets his name out there. He does shout. He maybe doesn't do it as much as Jagielka did, but he's definitely our captain, and definitely I think there is still a place for him at the club. If he could just do it on a more regular basis, I think after he rides some challenges and gets around players like he did yesterday, he grows in confidence. But then the next game, if he gets a couple of bad tackles on him, he starts then mentally to break down a bit, and that's where I think we lose what Seamus has given to us over the years. Anyway, that's the Sunday supplement for this week. Hope you enjoyed yesterday's game, and thanks to those who supported us at the Mercantile yesterday, and of course the members at Goodison yesterday. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon in another video. Have a good one, guys.